the only time, and I already mentioned this, the only time where I made a mistake talking about Caitlyn and what she's done was on the podcast back in February that I apologized for. But it's like, nope, you hate her.
It's almost comical. Just when I thought Sheryl Swoopes might finally take accountability, maybe even admit she was wrong, she doubled down with yet another bold-faced lie. The only thing consistent lately has been her eagerness to drop questionable stats about Caitlin Clark with such conviction you'd think she was reading from a teleprompter. Honestly, we may have handed out the legend label a little too generously. Look where that's gotten us. Neck-deep in baseless claims to it's as if all the praise inflated her sense of authority to the point where she believes she can just rewrite history. The receipts are out there. We've got it all on record. Let's unpack it. You'd think that someone as accomplished and respected as Sheryl Swoopes would be cheering on the next generation of talent, right? Wrong. Things really kicked off when Caitlin Clark began shattering records in college basketball, putting on performances that were electrifying the entire sports world. But instead of applauding her, Swoopes sparked a different kind of fire, one laced with envy and dismissiveness. Picture this. Clark was on the verge of becoming the all-time NCAA scoring leader, a moment that deserved celebration and standing ovations. But what did Swoopes do? She turned to the media and undermined the achievement, saying Clark only had the chance because she was granted an extra year to play. Really?
They're made and set to be broken. But if you're going to break a record, this isn't just for Caitlin, but you asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that player set it.
Okay.
Right? So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year, and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record?
At first glance, Swoopes' claim might sound plausible to some, but here's where it takes a sharp, and honestly hilarious, turn. It took me mere seconds to check Wikipedia, and guess what? Sheryl Swoopes was straight up wrong. A quick search confirms that Caitlin Clark played exactly 4 years at Iowa. No bonus year, no mythical 5th season. So how Swoopes came up with that extra year is anyone's guess. Nice try, Swoopes, but let's be real. The truth doesn't play favorites. Caitlin Clark earned that record fair and square. And last I checked, the NCAA isn't in the business of handing out participation trophies for sticking around extra long in college ball. I still remember that unforgettable day when Caitlin Clark brought the house down. The crowd was electric, every fan on their feet as she edged closer to history. And when she nailed that 35th three-pointer, the arena exploded. It was one of those rare, goosebump-inducing moments, like the entire
recovered by Gabby Marshall. Here comes Clark. How will she go for history? There it is! The all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball.
Not only did Caitlin Clark not need an extra year to break the record, she actually did it in fewer games than Kelsey Plum. Yep, Caitlin hit that milestone in just 126 games. Plum? She needed 139. Let that sink in. Clark got it done 13 games faster. So the entire foundation of Swoopes' argument? Built on a flat-out lie. But wait, it gets worse, apparently. Watching a young phenom like Caitlin Clark rewrite history was too much for Sheryl Swoopes to handle. So what did she do? She didn't just toss out a false claim about eligibility, she went full petty, even throwing in some age shaming for good measure. That's right. Instead of celebrating Clark's incredible achievement, Swoopes tried to undermine it by suggesting Caitlin was older than the competition, as if that somehow disqualifies her greatness, when the facts don't support your narrative. Inventing reasons to tear someone down isn't just weak.
We'll talk about how much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. Like, you should be killing them. Because you've been doing it a lot longer than they have.
Funny how Swoopes seems to have forgotten that she was the one who started her WNBA career later than most, not Caitlin. Sheryl Swoopes didn't join the league until she was 26, back in 1997. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is already making headlines straight out of college, breaking records like it's just another Tuesday. Imagine going on a live podcast, throwing out wild claims, and forgetting to check basic facts. That's exactly what Sheryl Swoopes did, so caught up in bitterness and jealousy that she couldn't be bothered to Google for 30 seconds. Honestly, Jalen Rose should have just pulled out his phone and fact-checked her on the spot. A quick search would have shown that Caitlin Clark is 22 years old, not 25, like Swoopes claimed. And let's be real, 22 is perfectly standard for a college senior, so that whole age-shaming angle? Total nonsense. At this point, we're 2 lies deep, and the question becomes why? Why would someone of Sheryl Swoopes' stature feel the need to lie about someone else's success? Is it insecurity? Ego? Jealousy? Probably a cocktail of all 3. But Swoopes didn't stop there. No, she doubled, no, tripled down. As if thinking, well, I've already crashed this car, might as well hit the gas. So, next came lie number 3, that Caitlin Clark was jacking up an absurd number of shots every game. Another baseless claim. When the truth isn't on your side, slander becomes the strategy, and that's exactly what happened here.
So to answer that question, Caitlin Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Carry on.
I know you like that.
Yeah.
I set the record in 5 games. Right?
Yeah.
Because back then, we had a first round bye.
Oh,
so
okay.
we didn't get to play, I didn't get that 6th game. So I set the record in 5 games.
It took her extra game.
Well, I'm just saying.
You can say that.
No, listen. If I have 6 games,
The record's different.
well, I'm going to have another 30. But I don't really care what the record is, who has the record.